thankfully, we've not seen so far any chemical or, of course, tactical nuclear weapons. But it does seem as if they're upping the ante. I'm just looking at one report now on Twitter that they've shown a Russian thermobaric weapon being used in the Bakhmut area. Is this one of the dangers that as they start running out of conventional munitions, the shells and missiles, they take on ever more dastardly weapons, if I can use that phrase?
Well, it's certainly a possibility, Mark, and it's very good to hear Lord Dannatt echoing what a lot of other people think. I think we've been surprised how really poor the Russian military is. And the Russian military is all but defeated. And I think NATO, because of that, needs to take a more proactive stand here. It is very clear that, as your report said, that the Russians are running out of missiles, perhaps looking to more unconventional ones like thermobaric. We haven't seen the false flag biological and chemical attacks materialize. And I think the nuclear thing is absolutely key. In effect, Putin is using the threat of nuclear weapons to keep NATO out of the direct fight in Ukraine. But I think in future and going forward, I would go further than Lord Dannatt. I think NATO needs to get much more involved. The Russians are potentially pretty much defeated. I agree that Crimea is vital ground to the Russians, and Ukraine could very well take it. But they need our additional support. And when we hear about, previous pieces earlier on about the cost of living crisis and the strikes going on, now most of that is caused by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Quite apart from the fact that civilians being killed, I think NATO needs to step up its support to get this war over with as quickly as possible.
Well, we have got this Patriot system, the anti-air system going from the United States fairly soon. It does appear, too, the Ukrainians are becoming more adept at shooting down these missiles, given the latest figures we're getting. But all that, of course, is defensive capability. Is it going to be a very different picture if Putin decides that Russia itself is then under threat?
Well, I think that is the excuse Putin is using anyway at the moment to attack into Ukraine. But I agree with Lord Dannatt that Putin's own position is probably on a knife edge. And if we can enable the Ukraine to push the Russians out of the Donbass and out of Crimea, I don't think the Russian state will allow Putin to carry on much longer because they will have lost everything.